The apology line. Mara Ellison answered the first impossible call at 2:17 in the morning. By then, the city had gone quiet in the way cities only pretended to be quiet. Rain ticked against the dark windows of the call center. The old ventilation system hummed above the ceiling tiles. Somewhere in the break room, the refrigerator compressor kicked on with a tired mechanical shudder. Mara sat alone beneath fluorescent lights that never fully stopped buzzing, one hand wrapped around a paper cup of coffee she had forgotten to drink. The headset pressed lightly against her left ear. A muted monitor glowed in front of her. Covenant Response Services Night Crisis Support Division active operators, 1. There had been 3 operators scheduled until midnight. 2 went home after the call volume dropped. That left Mara, as usual, with the dead hours. She liked the dead hours. People assumed crisis lines were loudest at night. Sometimes they were. Holidays were bad. Snowstorms were bad. Full moons were not, no matter what people said. Rain could go either way. But most nights had long stretches of silence. Mara had learned to sit inside them without needing to fill the space. At 2:17, line 3 lit up. The screen displayed no number, just incoming call. Mara straightened, clicked the call open, and used the voice she had spent 12 years perfecting. Calm, warm, present. Covenant Response. This is Mara. I'm here with you. For a moment, there was only breathing. Male, shallow, ragged. Mara reached for a pen. That's all right, she said. Take your time. The man on the other end made a sound that might have been a laugh if it had not broken halfway through. I'm sorry, he whispered. Mara wrote, mail/distressed/apology. What are you sorry for? A pause. Rain moved against the windows. My wife, he said. Mara's eyes moved to the protocol sheet taped beside her monitor. She did not need it anymore, but habit mattered. Is your wife with you right now? No. Are you in danger? He exhaled sharply. Not yet. Mara let that sit for one beat, no more. Is someone else in danger? The man began to cry. Not loudly, not theatrically. It was worse than that. It was small, humiliated, exhausted crying, the kind that came from a person who had run out of places to hide from himself. I heard it, he said. What did you hear? Myself. Mara's pen stilled. I need you to explain that to me. I heard myself do it. Do what? The man's breathing hitched. In the background of the call, a woman screamed. Mara went cold. The scream was not distant. It was not muffled through walls. It was close to the phone. Close enough that Mara heard the sharp inhale before it, the scrape of something hitting the floor, the terror in the first half second before it became pain. Then a gunshot cracked through the headset. Mara flinched so hard her knee struck the underside of the desk. The line went silent except for the man's breathing. Sir, Mara said, already reaching for the emergency transfer key. Sir, where are you? That's from tomorrow, he whispered. Mara froze. What did you say? That's from tomorrow. Where are you right now? He gave an address. Mara typed it fast, fingers slipping once on the keys. Is there a weapon in the house? Not yet. Sir, listen to me. I need you to leave the residence, right now. Walk outside and keep the phone with you. I tried. You tried when? Tomorrow. Mara's mouth went dry. The man sobbed once. I'm sorry, he said. I already heard myself do it. Then he hung up. Mara stared at the call timer as it blinked out. For 2 seconds, she sat absolutely still. Then training took over. She transferred the address to dispatch with the call summary marked high risk. Possible domestic threat, possible firearm, caller unstable, immediate welfare check requested. The dispatcher who answered sounded half asleep until Mara played the clipped portion of the audio. The woman's scream, the gunshot. The dispatcher stopped sounding sleepy. Police arrived at the address 9 minutes later. Mara stayed at her station, headset still on, watching the shared incident feed update line by line. 231, units on scene. 232, contact made with adult male. 234, adult female located unharmed. 2:35, no firearm visible. 2:41, male detained for evaluation. Welfare referral pending. Mara leaned back slowly. Unharmed, no firearm. The scream had been real. She had heard it. The gunshot had cracked through her headset with such force her ear still seemed to feel it. But nothing had happened. Not yet. She took off the headset and placed it carefully on the desk. Her hand was shaking. The next call came at 2:46. Line 3 again, no number. Only incoming call. Mara looked at it for 3 full rings before she answered. Covenant response. This is Mara. I'm here with you. A young voice this time. Teenage, male, trying to sound calm and failing. I need to tell someone before I do it. Mara closed her eyes. When she opened them, she pulled the keyboard closer. What's your name? Evan. Okay, Evan, I'm listening. My friend Jay thinks it's funny, he said. He keeps messing with me, always has. Everybody laughs because he makes it seem like a joke. Are you with Jay right now? No, we're going to the old bridge after school tomorrow. He said we should jump into the creek like we used to when we were kids. Mara's skin prickled. Evan, what are you afraid might happen? The boy swallowed. I heard the splash. Mara did not interrupt. I heard him hit the railing first. I heard myself say, it was just a joke. I heard myself keep saying it until I started laughing. His voice cracked. I don't want to laugh like that. In the background of the call, Mara heard boys shouting. Wind, water moving below, then a sharp metallic bang, a body striking iron, a splash. The boy on the phone whispered along with the recording beneath him, perfectly in sync. It was just a joke. The call ended. Mara was already typing. This time she did not hesitate. She sent the school name, the bridge location, the caller's first name, the friend's name, the predicted time frame, and the audio clip to emergency services and local school safety contacts. Then she sat back and listened to the rain. Line 3 did not light up again for almost 20 minutes. When it did, Mara almost let it ring. Almost. Her finger hovered over the answer key. She thought of the domestic call, the woman alive because police had arrived before tomorrow. Maybe. She thought of the boy at the bridge. Then she answered. A woman was crying. Older, maybe 60. I switched the labels, the woman said. Mara felt something inside her fold inward. What labels? Medication cart. Room 412. I was tired. I was angry. Mr. Bell kept screaming at me. He always screams. I just wanted him to sleep. Are you a nurse? The woman sobbed harder. I haven't done it yet. Behind her voice came the sterile beep of monitors, then another sound, a flatline tone. Mara heard someone shout for a crash cart. The woman whispered, I'm sorry. I already heard what I become. By 3:30, Mara had taken 6 calls. A truck driver apologizing for falling asleep and crossing a median. A mother apologizing for leaving her baby in a hot car, even though it was January. A college student apologizing for setting a fire in a dorm laundry room because she wanted people to know how panic felt. A retired teacher apologizing for deleting a message that would have saved a girl's life. Each call began with remorse. Each contained audio that could not exist. Each described an act that had not happened yet. And each one ended with some version of the same sentence. I already heard myself do it. Mara called her supervisor at 3:38. Straight to voicemail. She called the day manager. Straight to voicemail. She called technical support. The number played 3 notes and disconnected. She checked the routing log. Line 3 did not exist. Not exactly. The station had 8 active crisis lines, 2 administrative lines, 1 dispatch override, and 1 backup emergency channel. There was no Line 3 in the system after midnight. Mara stared at the monitor. Line 3 glowed softly in the call queue, empty and waiting. She opened the back-end panel. No route, no carrier, no source number, no recording path, no call history. But the calls were there in her headset memory, in her handwritten notes, in the emergency transfers she had sent, in the audio clips now sitting in a folder labeled with the current date. Mara clicked one. The first man's voice filled her headset. I'm sorry. I already heard myself do it." The scream followed, the gunshot. Mara stopped the playback. She removed the headset again. This time she stood. The call center was not large. 12 stations arranged in 2 rows, a glass-walled office for the day supervisor, a break room, a locked equipment closet, carpet worn smooth along the path between desks and coffee. At night, with most monitors off, the place looked less like an office and more like a room someone had abandoned during an evacuation. Mara walked to the equipment closet and entered the code. The door clicked open. Inside were server racks, routers, cable bundles, old phones, backup batteries, and the kind of blinking lights people trusted because they did not understand them. Mara found the line distribution panel. She traced the labels. Line 1, Line 2, Line 4, Line 5. No 3. She checked again. No 3. Behind her, out in the call center, a phone rang. Not her headset. A desk phone. Mara stepped out of the closet. The phone at Station 7 was ringing. It had not been used in months. A sticky note on the receiver said, "Bad mic. Do not use." The display read, "Missed call." Mara did not move. The phone rang again. Then Station 2 began ringing. Then Station 11. Then the phone in the supervisor's office. One by one, every dead phone in the call center lit up. "Missed call, missed call, missed call." Mara backed away until her shoulders touched the equipment closet doorframe. Her own cell phone vibrated in her pocket. She pulled it out. The screen showed an incoming call from Noah. Mara stopped breathing. Her younger brother had been dead for 9 years. The phones kept ringing around her. She stared at the name until the letters blurred. Noah. She could still see him at 27, all sharp elbows and restless energy, smiling like he was trying to outrun something nobody else could see. The night he died, he called her at 1:03 a.m. She had been asleep. There had been a voicemail. She deleted it without listening. That was the story she told people. It was mostly true. Mara's thumb hovered over the green answer button. The call ended. Every phone in the room stopped ringing at once. Silence rushed in so completely that Mara heard the building settle. Her cell screen went black. Then Line 3 lit up on her station. Mara looked at it from across the room. It rang once, twice, 3 times. She walked back slowly and sat down. The headset felt heavier when she put it on. She answered. No greeting this time, no professional warmth, just breath. "Mara?" Her brother's voice. Not a memory of it, not a bad imitation. "Noah." Mara's fingers curled around the edge of the desk. "No," she whispered. He laughed softly, and it broke her heart because it was exactly him. That little breath before the sound, the lift at the end, the way his laugh always seemed to apologize for taking up space. "You always say that first." Mara squeezed her eyes shut. "Noah is dead." "Yeah," he said, "I know." The line crackled. Behind his voice, Mara heard rain. Not the rain outside the call center. Different rain. A harder storm. The rain from the night he died. "What is this?" she asked. "You have to stop answering." "I don't understand." "You did before." Her throat tightened. "Before when?" "The first time." Mara stood so suddenly her chair rolled back and struck the desk behind her. "Noah, where are you?" He was quiet. When he spoke again, the fear in his voice was young and human and unbearable. "I need you not to hate me." Mara pressed one hand over her mouth. "I never hated you." "You should have." "No, I was going to hurt someone." Mara could not move. Noah continued. "I called to say I was sorry, not because I had done it, because I had heard myself do it, just like them." The room seemed to tilt. Mara remembered her apartment 9 years ago, the blue light of her phone on the nightstand, Noah's name on the screen, her hand reaching for it. She remembered answering. No. She remembered not answering. No. Both memories pressed against each other in her skull. In one, the phone rang until voicemail. In the other, she answered and heard her brother sobbing. Mara gripped the desk. "What happened that night?" "You talked me down." "No." You did. I missed the call. You remember missing it because that's the version that let you live with what came after. The fluorescent lights flickered. Mara looked up. Every dark monitor in the call center now reflected her station, but not correctly. In each black screen, she saw herself wearing the headset, sitting still, listening. Behind her in every reflection stood Noah. Mara did not turn around. "What came after?" she whispered. Noah's voice thinned. "The line doesn't erase consequences, it moves them." Mara shook her head slowly. "No. You saved me." "No. And someone else did what I would have done." The old memory split open. A news alert the morning after Noah died. A woman stabbed at a gas station 2 miles from his apartment. Random attack. No suspect. No motive. Mara had not connected it to him because grief made people selfish. It narrowed the world to one body, one loss, one name. Noah died that night after stepping into traffic on an empty street. No witnesses, no skid marks. The report said accident. Mara had always believed something in him had finally broken. Now she heard his voice across a line that should not exist. "I took it back," Noah said. "What does that mean?" "I couldn't let her carry what was mine." Mara understood before he said it. She did not want to. "You killed yourself." "I corrected the call." Mara bent forward as if something had punched through her ribs. "Noah, I'm sorry." The apology was small. Not supernatural, not cosmic, just her brother, scared and young forever. "Why is this happening?" she asked. "Because you keep answering." "I'm helping them." "No," Noah said, "you're choosing." Mara looked at line 3 glowing on the screen. "What is this line?" For a moment, there was only static. Then Noah said, "It connects to the moment." "What moment?" "The worst one." Mara did not answer. "Everybody has one," he said. "A second where the worst version of them becomes possible. Most people pass through it and never know. Some don't. The line lets them hear what happens if they don't." "That's mercy." "No," Noah whispered. "It's a trade." Mara thought of the wife still alive because police had arrived. The boy who might never go to the bridge. The patient in room 412. The baby in the hot car. "How many did I move?" she asked. Noah did not answer. "How many?" The line crackled. "You need to stop before it calls you." Too late, Mara thought. Her cell phone buzzed. On the desk, the screen lit up. Mara Ellison. She stared at her own name. Noah inhaled sharply. "Don't answer it." The cell vibrated again. "Mara Ellison. What happens if I don't?" "You live with what happens." "And if I do?" Noah's voice broke. "You live with what you move." The cell kept ringing. Mara looked from the phone to the call monitor. Line 3 remained active. Her brother was still there. "Can I stop it?" she asked. "No." "There has to be a way." "No." Mara's jaw tightened. She pulled off the headset. Noah's voice became tiny, distant, leaking from the earpiece. "Mara, please." She went to the equipment closet and began unplugging cables. One bundle, then another, then another. Routers blinked from green to amber to black. The call monitor in the main room went dark. The desk phones died. The server rack fans wound down. For the first time all night, the building sounded empty. Mara stood in the closet, breathing hard. Then a phone rang in the break room. She turned. It was an old wall phone mounted beside the microwave. Beige plastic, disconnected years ago. The cord had been cut and coiled around the receiver like a dead snake. It rang again. Mara walked to it. The tiny display, which had no power, glowed with her name. Mara Ellison. She did not pick it up. Her cell phone began ringing again. So did the supervisor's phone. So did every desk phone. So did the dead phone in the drawer beside Station 5. So did the phone in Mara's childhood memory, ringing in the kitchen of a house her mother had sold 20 years ago. All of them calling her. All of them asking her to choose. Mara returned to her station. The monitor was black. No power. Still, line 3 glowed in the center of the dead screen. She put the headset on. The ringing stopped. Mara answered herself. At first she heard wind, then traffic, then a child crying. Mara's own voice came through the line, breathless and broken. "I'm sorry about the girl." Mara closed her eyes. "What girl?" Her future voice sobbed. "I tried to get there in time." "Where?" "You know where?" "I don't." "You will." Tires screeched in the background. A horn blared. The child cried harder. Mara gripped the desk. "Tell me where." Her own voice whispered an intersection. 8 blocks away. Then came impact. Metal folding, glass bursting. The child's cry cut off. Mara tore the headset away and ran. She did not grab her coat. She did not shut down the building. She did not think about trades or balance or cosmic rules. There was a girl 8 blocks away who was going to die, and Mara knew the intersection. That was enough to move her body. Rain hit her like gravel when she burst through the front doors. The call center sat at the edge of a commercial district, surrounded by dark offices, empty parking lots, pawn shops, a closed pharmacy, and one 24-hour gas station glowing green under the storm. Mara ran toward the intersection. Her shoes slapped through puddles. Cold water soaked her socks. Her lungs burned by the second block. At the 4th block, her phone rang. She ignored it. At the 5th, a bus shelter phone display lit up as she passed. Mara Ellison. At the 6th, an emergency call box beside a parking garage began ringing. She kept running. At the 7th, she heard her brother's voice from a public speaker mounted outside a closed bank. "Mara, don't!" She almost stopped. Then she heard a child laughing somewhere ahead. Not crying, laughing. The intersection came into view. Red traffic lights swung in the rain. A small girl stood at the curb holding a yellow umbrella shaped like a duck. No adult near her. Across the street, a delivery truck approached too fast for the wet road. Mara saw the future in fragments. The girl stepping off the curb, the truck braking, the tires sliding, and the impact. Mara screamed. The girl turned. The umbrella slipped from her hand and rolled into the street. She stepped after it. Mara reached her as the truck entered the intersection. She grabbed the back of the girl's coat and threw her toward the sidewalk. The truck missed the child. It did not miss the man standing behind Mara. She had not seen him. He had been under the bus stop awning, hood up, phone in hand, waiting for the light to change. Mara heard the impact behind her. A heavy, final sound. The truck jackknifed. The girl screamed. Mara hit the pavement hard, one arm wrapped around the child. For a few seconds, all she could hear was rain and brakes and someone shouting from very far away. Then she looked back. The man lay in the street. His hood had fallen away from his face. He was young, maybe 30, a stranger. Mara crawled toward him, though she already knew. His phone lay beside his open hand. The screen was cracked, still lit. The caller ID read Mara Ellison, police arrived, then paramedics, then the girl's mother, hysterical and barefoot, running from an apartment building across the street. Mara sat on the curb beneath a foil blanket and watched them cover the man in the road. No one asked how she knew, not at first. People rarely asked the real questions when trauma gave them easier ones. The little girl was alive. The man was not. The trade had been made. At 5:58 a.m., Mara walked back to the call center. The rain had softened to a mist. Dawn bled gray across the tops of buildings. Her hands were scraped. One knee throbbed. Her hair clung to her face. The front doors of Covenant Response Services were unlocked. Inside, the phones were silent. Every monitor was dark. The overhead lights had gone out, leaving the room in the pale wash of morning through rain-streaked windows. Mara stood in the center of the call floor and waited for something to ring. Nothing did. She laughed once. It sounded wrong in the empty room. Then her cell phone buzzed. Not a call, a voicemail notification. Mara looked down. The timestamp was 9 years old. Noah, 1:03 a.m. Her thumb began to shake. She pressed play. For a moment, there was only static. Then Noah's voice filled the quiet. He sounded younger than she remembered, more tired, more afraid. "Mara," he said, If you're hearing this, then it worked. She covered her mouth. I'm sorry I put it on you. I'm sorry I called. I was scared and you answered, and I let you save me because I wanted to live. I wanted that so badly. His voice broke. But it doesn't disappear. It goes somewhere. That's what I didn't understand. Mara sank slowly into her chair. Noah inhaled on the recording. I took mine back. I thought that would end it. Maybe it did for me. A pause, then softer. Thank you for taking my place. The voicemail ended. Mara sat without moving. Outside, the rain stopped. For the first time all night, the city seemed completely still. No phones, no voices, and no apologies, just mourning. Mara left the headset on the desk and walked out of the building. The parking lot was empty except for her car and a payphone standing across the street near the closed gas station. She had passed that payphone every night for 12 years. It had never worked. The receiver was cracked. The metal cord was rusted. Someone had spray painted half the glass black. Mara stood on the curb, watching the sunrise turn the wet pavement silver. The payphone began to ring. Once, twice, 3 times. Mara did not cross the street. She did not move at all. The phone kept ringing, and in the pale morning light she understood the truth at last. The line had never needed wires.
This has been a story from the other side of now. If you enjoyed this story, like, comment, and subscribe.